Welcome to Supernatural Japan, the podcast where we explore the mysterious, the legendary, and the unforgettable stories hidden across the Japanese archipelago. I'm your host, Kevin O'Shea, and today we're heading deep into the southern tip of Kyushu, into the shadow of an ancient volcano, beside a lake that has inspired one of Japan's most enduring cryptid legends. This is the story of Issie, the elusive monster said to haunt Lake Ikeda in Kagoshima Prefecture. Picture this. You're standing on the shores of Lake Ikeda, the largest lake in Kyushu. The water is dark, still, and impossibly deep. The lake, a caldera formed by volcanic activity thousands of years ago, sits just west of the massive Mount Kaimon, better known as Kaimon-dake, a nearly perfect volcanic cone rising more than 900 meters into the sky. Locals sometimes call it the Fuji of Satsuma because of its striking resemblance to Mount Fuji. The region is shaped by fire. Volcanic soil, hot springs, and geothermal activity define the landscape. Mist often rolls over the water, especially in the early morning, giving Lake Ikeda an eerie, otherworldly charm. This is the perfect setting for a legend, and for decades, people have claimed that something massive lives beneath the lake's surface. The creature of Lake Ikeda is called Issie, sometimes spelled Issie or Ishi, and like many Japanese cryptids, Issie's story blends folklore and sorrow. According to local legend, long ago, Issie was not a monster at all. She was a beautiful white mare, living freely on the grassy fields near the lake. She had a young foal that she adored. But one day, the foal was stolen by a samurai. Heartbroken and frantic, the mare ran wildly along the lake's edge, calling out for her baby. Unable to find her child, she did the unthinkable. She plunged into the dark waters of Lake Ikeda. And there, legend says, she transformed into a giant aquatic creature. Some versions describe her as a serpentine beast. Others say she became a massive dragon-like figure. But in every storytelling, Issie remains in the lake, tirelessly searching for her stolen foal. Some claim that her cries can still be heard on foggy mornings. This tragic origin gives Issie a distinctly Japanese flavor. Part yokai, part animal, spirit, part cryptid. While the folklore is old, Issie's rise to fame began in the 1920s, when scattered reports mentioned something large moving through the lake. But it wasn't until the 1970s that the legend exploded onto the national stage. The 1978 photograph. In 1978, a man named Takeshi Matsubara captured a now famous photograph showing a mysterious, dark shape on the surface of the lake. Something long, bulky, and undeniably strange. The photo made national news. Newspapers and TV crews descended on Kagoshima. Sightseers flocked to Lake Ikeda, hoping for a glimpse. At the height of excitement, some witnesses reported a 20-meter-long creature. It had dark, smooth skin, several humps rising and falling across the water, and a shape moving against the wind and the current. Over the years, more sightings trickled in. Ripples with no boats in sight, large shadows beneath the water, or something breaking the surface before disappearing. Now, skeptics have offered explanations such as floating volcanic gas bubbles, or logs carried by underwater currents, optical illusions caused by wind patterns on the lake's surface. But believers argue that the lake's depth and volcanic geography could easily hide something mysterious. What do you think, guys? Do you think you might believe in Issie, or are you on the more skeptical side? I'm curious. I'd love to hear your feedback. While Issie is one of Japan's most famous lake creatures, it's far from the only one. Japan has a surprising number of lake monster legends. First of all, we have Kyushu in Lake Kyushu in Hokkaido. Perhaps the most famous after Issie, Kyushu is said to be a plesiosaur-like creature inhabiting a large caldera lake in eastern Hokkaido. Sightings date back to the 1970s, and even today, local tourism embraces the legend. And by the way, this is one of the things that I really like that happens in many places around the world, such as the United States, where local communities really embrace these folkloric legends, these cryptid legends, these, they create festivals. It really adds to the local, the local culture, to the local economy. You look at the Mothman Festival in the United States. So many communities have created festivals and souvenirs and different ways of monetizing these legends, which I think is fantastic to boost tourism, often to places that desperately could use that financial injection. Now back to the lake monsters. Of course, you have Kiyohime in the Hidaka River in Wakayama. Now, although not exactly a lake monster, this serpentine being is often associated with bodies of water and transformation. Another example of human tragedy morphing into yokai legend. There is the Akita Namahage lake serpent, lesser known, but fishermen in parts of northern Japan have told stories of long eel-like creatures appearing briefly at dusk. There is the Nessie sightings in Lake Biwako, the largest lake in Japan. Japan's largest lake has had intermittent reports of serpentine shapes and mysterious wakes, though none as famous as Issie or Kyushu. And of course, we have Mossy, the serpentine creature who may or may not live in Lake Yamanaka. And this is located at the base of Mount Fuji, and we featured Mossy in episode 13 of Supernatural Japan. So if you want to know more about Mossy, go back into the archives of Supernatural Japan, and you can find out all about her. Now, creatures lurking beneath the water are a reoccurring theme in Japan's supernatural landscape. Lakes, especially volcanic caldera lakes, are seen as gateways to other realms, making them perfect habitats for the unexplained. Whether Issie is a spiritual creature, a symbolic guardian, or simply a tourist attraction, the legend remains strong. Statues and signs around the lake celebrate her story. We're going to show some of those, of course, on our Instagram and Facebook page. Those signs celebrate her story, and visitors can even take boat rides across the water, retracing the path of the 1970s sighting. For some, Issie represents the mystery of nature, and for others, she's a reminder of a ghostly love between mother and child. And for cryptid hunters, she's an unsolved puzzle, the Japanese cousin of the Loch Ness Monster. Lake Ikeda's calm waters may seem peaceful, but beneath that surface lies one of Japan's most compelling unsolved legends. Now, again, I would love to know your thoughts on this. What do you think about lake monsters? Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster? Do you believe in Ogopogo in Canada? Send me an email at supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. Share your thoughts or somewhere on our social media. I would love to hear your take on this. If you ever find yourself in Kagoshima, take a trip to Lake Ikeda. Stand at the shore, gaze into the deep, still water, and imagine the possibility that something ancient, something forgotten, might be living just out of sight. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Supernatural Japan. If you enjoy exploring Japan's mysteries, folklore, and forgotten stories, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps the show grow and keeps the strange stories flowing. And by the way, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of 2026, and I hope you've all been having an amazing New Year so far. It has been a full year since I fully committed to making Supernatural Japan the most awesome podcast I could, and I have not missed 1 week since 2025 began, and of course, this year is going to be better, even better than 2025. So thank you so much, everyone, for all of your support. I couldn't make this podcast without all of you out there and your constant support, goodwill, and enthusiasm. To see that famous 1978 photo of Issie, and to check out all kinds of other things about the lake monster of Lake Ikeda in Kagoshima, all the different pictures of the lake, the statues, all that cool, fun stuff, please follow Supernatural Japan over on Instagram at Supernatural Japan. The link will be in the show notes. Check out our Facebook group for additional photos and content. Again, that link is in the show notes as well. Now, I'm on Blue Sky and X at Mad for Maple, where I post lots of fun things about life abroad. I've been living abroad for a long time, all across Asia. So there's all kinds of supernatural things and a lot of things that simply are not supernatural, but very interesting nonetheless. Now, you can shoot me an email anytime you like at supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. I would love to hear your ideas, your thoughts, your story ideas. Hey, just reach out and say hello. Now, of course, you can help this podcast grow by sharing it on your social media, with your family, with your friends, with people who like a great spooky story. Hey, help the podcast get even bigger and better. And that's it, everyone. Happy 2026. And until next time, keep your eyes on the water.